Hi, everybody. This is Susan Adams, and I'm a life and health coach for Apricot Tree, Apricot Tree Wellness and Nutritional Therapies. Listen, today it's really important, and this kind of hit home, especially for me. Um, Now, I'm a single mom, and I have four kids. Two are older; they're in their 20s and on their own, and then I have two more at home still. And, it's really important during this time when we're locked down during the quarantine that we stay connected with those that we love, not just for their sake, but for ours. And there's a few things that you can do if you personally are struggling with depression or negative thoughts about self. It can be really tough sometimes to pull yourself out of it. And if you can't pull yourself out of it, um, it's not a matter of snapping to. There's some things that kind of a process that needs to happen when you're feeling that way. And everybody gets there, even I get there. I had a couple of days this week, especially during lockdown. I had a couple of days this week where I felt awful physically, emotionally. I was down, and when I get kind of like that, I really don't it's like rebellion. I really don't wanna. I think we all get in that funk. And that's why we have somebody in our life. It's really important to have somebody in your life where you can have an accountability, someone who can check on you, especially if you have a tendency to be kind of in that negative realm. Well, there's a few things psychologically that you can do to help yourself. First of all, you need to acknowledge how you feel. You know, Ignoring it or even having someone say, just snap out of it is it doesn't help you. It doesn't serve you. It's so demeaning, and all it does is make you mad, right? Well, you know, you really need to acknowledge how you're feeling and kind of dig a little bit and figure out, why are you feeling like this about yourself? My teenage girls struggle with depression time and again. And, we have to kind of sit down, and I've got to just shut my mouth and listen. A lot of parents have a hard time knowing that, what to say. They just want to take it away. They want it to feel better. Or, unfortunately, we have some who will say, just snap out of it. I know that in some abusive cases, and if you've experienced this as a child, you know what I'm talking about, when we would be told either by someone in authority or a loved one, like a parent or a sibling, you're just being really selfish. Well, you're not being selfish. You're being a little bit self-focused, maybe, but everybody needs to focus on self once in a while. And, feeling bad is okay. That's the one thing that you have to understand. Feeling bad is not a bad thing unless you walk down that road of wanting to hurt yourself. Some people, when you're feeling really bad, especially during lockdown, you might grab for your nearest coping mechanism. Maybe it's food, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's over the counter or prescription drugs. I suffered with an eating disorder for a really long time, and I even went into an inpatient program because I couldn't help myself. I needed help. So if you can't help yourself and it lasts for a lot longer than like a day, maybe it's time to reach out. Start with reaching out to somebody who's in your accountability circle. Always have someone that you trust that you can reach out to. And if you can't, there's always the suicide hotline. You can Google it and find it. And I'll post it at the bottom of this post, so that if you're feeling like that, you can talk to someone about how you're feeling about hurting yourself. But if you're just going through the lockdown major blues, there are some things that you can really help yourself with. First of all, it's okay. You got to acknowledge yourself. It's okay. Tell yourself it's okay to feel this way. And then ask why. Okay, so I'm really depressed. I'm really, really mad at myself. Well, why am I mad at myself? Okay, so here I'm going to tell you a story. Yesterday, so I've been working on a custom order for masks, and this was for a cleaning company for all of their maids, to clean houses. And she wanted, specific colors and a label on the mask that had their logo. No problem. Well, I ran into some snags. Well, I finally finished them yesterday. It took me 8 days to get it done. And I was kind of playing with my dyes a little bit. And I have a special dye that I use that's cold water dye, so you don't have to like heat them or boil them or anything. And I had my glasses on and accidentally bumped the dye with my thumb. And guess where it landed? On the floor. Yes, I had a massive blue stain on my carpet. So I was so angry with myself, and I was just beating myself up verbally. And I'm like, okay, no, this is not the right thing. I was just spittering and spattering and just letting all of that stress out, because it can be overwhelming when you're doing custom orders. Anyone who's done custom order business knows how overwhelming it can be, especially when things don't go right or you run out of supplies like we are right now. And I've got people waiting. So I felt a lot of stress yesterday. I called my daughter. My oldest is 21, and she and I have learned how to communicate. And Megan just listened on the other side of the line, and I just let it all out. And I began to get kind of stinky about it. She's like, Mom, you don't have to be stinky. I was like, okay, all right. You know what? I need to get control of my thoughts, and I need to refocus. So I said, honey, I love you. I'm going to let you go. I'll call you back later. She's like, okay, Mom, I love you. And we hung up. If you get into that bad place where your sadness and depression starts heading down the anger line, because anger is not a root emotion, depression is. And when you get into that kind of a self-hate mode, sometimes our depression gets that way, you have a tendency to, I know some people have a tendency to either go down that coping, binging or whatever, drinking, whatever it is, or they'll start browbeating themselves. And can be hard to deal with when you're mad at yourself. Well, ask yourself, why am I mad at myself? Well, it was triggered by an old memory of some work that I did several years back and how I fell behind and I messed things up. And it also had some roots in my childhood. I'm sure all of us have those. And so when I realized where that root came from, I realized it wasn't me, that I was tired, I wasn't taking care of myself. And I thought, okay, there's really no reason to beat myself up. So the next thing I did is I snapped to, what do I do to solve this problem? How do I solve where I'm at right now? Okay, so I acknowledged, I understood, I found the root cause of that emotion, and then I decided to snap to a solution. What was the solution? I had to get that out of the carpet because it was a cold set dye. It was a heat set dye, but it was a natural dye that will set if you let it dry. And I thought, oh my gosh, it was acrylic based. And I thought, okay, I've got to find a way to get this out. The first thing I did was call my good friend, Bill. Bill knows everything. I called him the carpet sensei. And I said, carpet sensei, I need your help. What do I do? Now, Bill has diabetes. And this last year, Bill lost a good portion of his leg to an infection, a bone infection from diabetes. And so he's kind of out of work right now trying to figure out what he's going to do. But he is so knowledgeable. He's the best carpet cleaner ever in the entire universe. He does such an amazing job. He always has, and he's always been a good friend of our family's. He actually donated his time to clean the house when my husband died. Okay, so he's like, okay, well, you got this option and this option and this option. And I'm like, okay, I know what to do. So I looked up, I found a carpet cleaner, and he told me what brands to find, which was a Hoover or Eureka. And I looked for, and I found one right away on the Facebook groups. And I called her, I messaged her, and then I said, okay, I need it right now. I'm ready. I've got the cash. I'll get it right now. So I drove out to Falcon, picked it up. It was great. It works perfect. It's less than a year old. Needed some cleaning. I cleaned it out. And I was like, you know what? I got this started. Let's clean all the carpets. So while I was out getting the carpet cleaner, I told the girls, okay, girls, take everything out of the main room, everything in the walkways that are really grungy, and we're going to clean. I'm going to spend my Sunday cleaning the carpets. They needed them. It had been a year and a half that I'd been in the apartment. So I spent that time. My oldest daughter came over. I said, Megan, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I responded the way I did. She said, that's okay, Mom. I know that you're stressed out. I know that this is difficult for you. You know what? Do you want me to come over and help you? So, if you can figure out what's going on in your head and not take it out on others or displace your anger or do what's called gaslighting, you have to be really careful and watch what you think before you speak when you're mad, okay? Because you can inadvertently say something that your children are going to hear. And as a parent, you need to understand that when you're talking about negative things about yourself, what are these kids going to do when they feel that way? They're going to copy what you have done. So people are watching you. You have a responsibility. Excuse me a second. Drink your water. You have a responsibility to act appropriately when especially if you're an adult around children. And if you are a teenager, you have a responsibility to act appropriately if you have younger siblings, because they're watching you and they learn and they will copy how you react. Anything, Brendon Burchard says anything that's been learned can actually be unlearned. So if you can think about it that way, I don't care about what they say about genetics. Anything that is learned can be unlearned. And, I proved that in the last year and a half, that can be true. When you are so angry that you act out of rage or frustration and you're being irresponsible, you have a tendency not to say the right things for yourself, around others, or towards others. And you can displace your anger by blaming somebody else when it's really triggered by something that you've gone through, maybe some PTSD. Okay, that being said, acknowledge. Journal how you're feeling. Take a paragraph. Paragraph is 3 sentences. I feel, this is why I feel this way. This is how I can change the way I feel. Or this is something that I can do to help myself feel better. Or this is how I can solve why I feel this way. Okay, so it's just 3 questions. This is what I feel, acknowledging. Okay. This is why I feel this way. And this is what I can do to solve how I feel about that memory or emotion. That helps you to kind of acknowledge yourself. It helps you to figure out why you feel that way. And then it actually disarms why you're upset. Okay, so let's move on. All right. So first of all, notice the positives in your negative. Okay, what's the positive about me spilling all of that paint? I have a really awesome carpet cleaner. I learned how to carpet clean. I clean my carpet. They're sparkling clean. Oh my gosh. And they smell great using natural products, which I can share with you. Okay. I used a couple of things. I didn't have any carpet cleaner, and I'm sensitive to chemicals because I had an autoimmune disease and I don't want to trigger that again. So I had some bar soap that I bought at Whole Foods that was coconut mint, and it had like 3 or 4 ingredients in it. Now, lye in a bar, I'm going to digress here for a second. Lye in natural soap will help get stains out. I noticed when I took a shower, when I had that dye all over me yesterday, I took a shower and scrubbed with that soap, and it came right off my skin. I thought my hands were all stained and my nails were stained. It came right off, and I was like, okay, there's something that can get it out. That, and I soaked it with some what is it? What is that? Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, seventh generation. Okay. Okay. So I forgot what it was called. Seventh generation laundry detergent in the powder form has an ingredient that the other ones don't that will help get stains out naturally without those chemicals. Well, I soaked it with some of that in a spray bottle and some hot water and shook it up. And I cleaned the carpets. I added some oils. I have some lemon doTERRA, because I'm a doTERRA, by the way. If you need some doTERRA oils or some blends, you can get it through me. I also make lotion with it. But I did some lemon drops in there, about 5 drops in my cleaner, my conditioner. And okay, so all of that, I digress. All of that to say that I found a way to clean my carpets naturally without chemicals, which was amazing. And I got that dye out. It took me, I think I went over it like 10 times, but I got it out. I got all of the dye out, amazingly enough. And it had a lot to do with that soap. Okay, so those are the things that were really good. About the bad thing that happened yesterday, and my carpets smell like lemony fresh, and lemon essential oil lifts depression. So immediately it lifted everybody's spirits in the house. Everybody loved it. Okay, so there's the positive. Find a positive in your negative. Whatever that you're doing, whatever that you're upset about, find one positive in that whole scenario that you're upset about or that you're depressed about. If my kids right now are really mourning. My husband's death was about 1.5 years ago, and they're really mourning Michael's death right now, all 3 of them today. And we, instead of talking about missing him, we talked about a couple of good memories, and it really helped them. And now I'm a Christian. I believe in heaven. And so I said, you know what, guys, he's in heaven and you're going to get a chance to see him again. So that really lifted their spirits. Just stay focused on the positive as best as you can. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't focus on the negative, because we already went through that to kind of acknowledge it, okay? But think of a positive in your negative situation that you feel bad about. Okay, so when you're depressed about something and you can't really put your finger on it, and maybe it's internal, maybe you're in a self-hate mode, because a lot of like alcoholics or binge eaters have a tendency to go into self-hate mode. I know when I was suffering with an eating disorder, I would go into a self-hate mode and find the worst thing I could find to eat for myself and punish myself. Because that's what happens when you binge on food, is you're punishing yourself. It's a way of punishment, or it's a way of gratification. One or the other. It could be both even. So think of a happy memory. If you can't, acknowledge yourself that there's something good about yourself and you're in a self-hate mode. Think of a happy memory or something that you are that you like about yourself. Maybe an attribute. Like me, for instance, when I feel really bad about myself, and being beautiful or being pretty or fit or none of that, I mean, I'm just disgusted with myself, so I don't even want to talk about it. But I'm compassionate and I'm smart. I have a best friend that I call and I'll say, please help me, because I hate me right now. Your accountability partner. Can you just tell me one good thing about me? And then if you can't find something about yourself that you can't acknowledge that you like about you, then call someone you trust and ask them to find that for you. And that immediate gratification from your friend will really help you to kind of see that you're not like that. We all have flaws, but you know what? Flaws are good, not bad, because they help us learn. Okay, so the next thing that you can do is to keep yourself out of the depression is plan a video call with a friend. maybe send a text message to a friend and say, hey, I would love to see you. Can we plan a video call? Zoom or Google Hangouts or Duo or FaceTime. Can we I want to talk to somebody face to face. Because being able to see someone's face and being able to see their lips and their eyes and their expression actually brings a lot of endorphins in your conversation. And it really helps you to connect with that person. Okay, maybe plan a video call once a week with that person, or try to call your friends. Right now, when we're all locked down, many of us are isolated and we don't have access to friends or family. Make sure that you're not just texting everybody. Make sure that you call them to hear their voice and that you plan video calls. Now, it's not always easy for elderly to understand how to use that. So, do what you can with what you've got, but try to stay connected visually and audibly, not just in text. Because as we all know, text messages can be misunderstood because we use tones in the things we say to help bring across an idea. And something that is meant for positive can actually be felt negatively by the other person regarding where their mind is at. Okay, so find something to look forward to. That's the next thing. Okay, so if you have like a hobby, something that you love, or maybe something that you've always wanted to get done around the house, maybe you like cleaning the carpets, or maybe you just really wanted to paint that picture, or you wanted to get that opportunity to learn a new language, or maybe you just wanted to catch up on the last 3 episodes of Picard, or something like that. Do something that you love that makes you feel accomplished and happy about you. Whether it's, I don't know, giving yourself a pedicure, maybe you just always wanted to take a bath and try out those bath bombs that you've never tried before. I mean, I'm an 80s child. We didn't have bath bombs back then. Okay. So it was like baby oil and herbs kind of bath or bubble bath do you guys remember the bubble bath from Avon? My mom used to love to put that in my bath. I loved bubble bath. Okay, so do something nice for yourself. Find something that you love to do and plan it into your schedule every week, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. If you're really off work and you're laid off and you don't have a lot to do, maybe do it once, 5 times a week, maybe Monday through Friday, or do it maybe every Saturday. So find something that you love to do. Okay, so another thing that you can do is get a little bit of exercise, get your blood going. So I'm used to going to the gym and going on walks. Now, we can't always go on walks. I live in Colorado, and Colorado's really difficult because she is bipolar. Okay, we love Colorado, but all you have to do is blink and the weather changes. I mean, we had the last big snow we had the day before, it was like 70 degrees. Okay. And then we got like a foot of snow. And then the sun came out a day and a half later and melted it all away. So you can't always go on walks. So I've had to learn how to do my power workout. I do vinyasa and power yoga in my front room, in front of my bedroom, in front of my bed. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with my 2 teenagers and 900 tiny square feet apartment. Now, it might seem big to you, but I've got my sewing studio in my dining room. I have my day bed right here next to me. And, I've got a pull out that comes out if I want a bigger bed. And my dining room is right behind my computer right over here. The girls have the master bedroom and we have 1 bathroom. Yes, it's tight. We've been here for a year and a half. We're hoping to move into a house. But it can be a teeny tiny square space. Okay, so I generally have, I would say, maybe 300 square feet of space to live in, and a bathroom I have to share. Now, that's not a problem most of the time because I get out, we have a clubhouse and everything else. But it can be difficult. So I exercise right here. All right. So getting my blood flowing It's really important. I don't feel like it sometimes. So the vinyasa are days when I don't have it in me to do a power workout. And the power workout is for days when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And, meditation helps bring that overwhelm down too. It can also help lift depression. Now, a lot of people say, oh, please don't tell me about meditation anymore, but it really does work. I've never been one in the past to do meditation, but it really does make a difference. Using mindfulness. If you just research what mindfulness is, I have a video called Mindfulness. If you look in my list on my YouTube, make sure and subscribe, by the way. I digress. But I have a YouTube video about mindfulness, and it really will help you. But with getting my blood flowing, I used to run on the treadmill for about 5 or 10 minutes. Not very long, I'm 46 and I don't want to screw up my knees, but it really helps to push some of the excess water off of my legs sometimes, because as you become older, you tend to retain a lot of water in your lower body, and it helps to push the excess water out of, they say when you fast, when you run on a diet, you fast the first 3 days because it helps to flush out a lot of the excess water. Well, the same thing is true when you run, because that impact on your muscles and your bones does two things. It hardens your bones so that they're less brittle, and it helps to flush and get a circulation. So it helps with neuropathy and other tendon issues, other muscle issues, and it helps with restlessness, and it also helps with restless leg syndrome. It also helps with edema, if you have edema. And I had edema for years. I don't have it anymore, but I had it for years. So, but I can't run when it's dreary and cold or raining or snowing. Okay. So what did I do? I decided to run in place, lifting my knees in the front. And then I did 50 of those. And then I, ran kicking my feet in the back, trying to kick my own rear. And, I found that doing 100 of those actually makes me more sore and gets me further than running on a treadmill, ironically enough. So get some exercise. You can do it anywhere. I swear you can do it anywhere. You just need to do it. And if you don't feel it, you don't have the energy, you feel sore, you feel stiff, try some vinyasa flow. It really will help. There's several people who do that. Okay. So what's another couple of things that you can do to help your depression? First of all, let's think about this. It's not just psychological. A lot of it is biochemistry. And doing the things that are psychological will help your biochemistry, but sometimes you need to help your body. First of all, you might want to think about, well, what have I been eating the last couple of days? Now, me personally, when I eat gluten, I have hot flashes and I have hormonal imbalances, which can cause you depression or anger or, I think any woman who's been through menopause, I'm already on the other side of it, but any woman who's been through menopause knows the emotional ups and downs. Gluten will do it. A lot of sodium will do it. So if you've been chowing down on those Cheetos lately or hot dogs, you've gotten a lot of sodium in your system. And that sodium can cause a massive ripple effect in your system. It doesn't just cause high blood pressure, it will also cause depression. So if you're feeling down and depressed, maybe you've been eating a little bit too much of the artificial sodium in junk food. Now, good salts are good for you. It actually helps give you minerals. I've said this in a couple of videos in the past. Pink salt has over 80 minerals and helps your body to absorb and utilize that salt and stabilize your blood pressure and everything else in your system if you have autoimmune disease. Not just high blood pressure, but other things like Addison's or thyroid conditions. Grease, which is a gray salt, has well over that and is the best salt that you can find. It's hard to find because it's Mediterranean, and it's so intense with nutrients that it can actually help your body to correct blood pressure issues. Okay, so sodium. What else are you doing? Are you sleeping enough? Are you drinking enough water? Many people who have migraines are sensitive to certain foods, like gluten, for instance, or artificial sweeteners. If you're taking in a lot of artificial sweeteners, then your body is really off balance. And you might want to consider, especially diet soda, because a diet soda, when you drink something that's got artificial carbonation that is not carbonated at the source, you'll have a tendency to throw your pH off in your body, because the bubbles, the carbon molecules, are bonded to the water molecule using phosphoric acid. And phosphoric acid is horribly bad for you. It can actually cause an acidic condition in your body that can actually allow for things like cancer and autoimmune disease and edema. And it will make you, the sugars in diet colas and diet sodas will make you crave sugar more. So if you're dieting and you're doing diet, I'm betting you that you're craving sugar even more. So you've got to get off of that. Stevia is what I recommend, or monk fruit. Okay, so what else can you do? I'm sure that you know what you're doing in your lifestyle that you shouldn't be doing, and giving yourself an excuse, maybe doing it once in a while is okay. I always say, the Maker's Diet has a really good structure if you've ever read the book. You can do maybe 6 days of eating smart and healthy and responsibly, and then taking your Sunday and eating whatever you want. Because after a while, your palate will change, and those 6 days of eating healthy and responsibly, your palate will go, okay, I really don't want that donut. It's kind of disgusting. It's gross. My girls are like that. I have 2 teenagers, and we don't ever go to McDonald's. Ever go to McDonald's. Okay. My girls eat fairly healthy. I mean, we have a few things around the house that are kind of on the borderline of bad for you. But, for the most part, we eat a lot of gluten-free, a lot of healthy, a lot of home-baked, home-cooked stuff, and lots of fruit and vegetables, lots of roughage, lots of healthy grains, and a lot of avocados. I cannot keep them in the fridge. My girls will eat them with a spoon. Okay, I can't keep an avocado in my house. So when I go for an avocado, it's never there. Okay. All right. So because of that, when we do go out for a burger, my girls usually have tummy aches, or they don't eat all of their burger because they can't palate it, because they are so used to eating healthy. And you can do the same thing too. 6 days of healthy, 1 day of bad for you, whatever you want. Okay, pile it on. You're going to feel guilty at the end of it. Absolutely. And you might have a tummy ache and some major heartburn, but your body will go, okay, we don't want that. What we want is what you've been eating the last 6 days. And that will slowly change the way you eat. What else can you do? Well, that's for you to decide. You know what you're not supposed to be doing. Now, it's okay to do it once in a while, but if it becomes a habit, we know what bad habits do to us. It can cause a lot of illness, weight. It can cause mental off days, depression, and it can cause long-term illness. Okay. So, and like I said, if you feel like harming yourself, reach out to the suicide hotline. It's more important to talk to someone in your state than sit there in solitude. Now, from an outsider's point of view, oftentimes we will see people who will go, I feel like killing myself. They might use it often. More than likely, they're not going to do that. They just need attention. And when that happens, don't discredit what they're saying. Okay? But what you want to do is acknowledge, I totally see where you're coming from. I can see how you feel that. Maybe we cannot identify with them, but what we can do is we can be a closed mouth friend. I have a lot of friends who are in AA, and I've gone to AA with these friends to support them. And even when I was in the eating disorder facility, I went to an AA meeting. It was it was one of the required things while we were there. And I picked up the Serenity Prayer while I was there because, a lot of the girls in the facility were also dealing with alcohol addiction and drug addiction. So, it really does help. If you're struggling emotionally and counseling hasn't done it for you, the 12-step program might just help you. And if you're not an addict or an alcoholic and you don't feel comfortable in Overeaters Anonymous, because a lot of people don't, especially women who are anorexic or bulimic, we don't always have support groups that help us. There are groups online, but you need to see someone face to face. When you do get released from lockdown and you're in that place, coming from someone who has recovered from an eating disorder, I encourage you to think about going to Al-Anon. Al-Anon is a safe place where you can learn the 12-step program to apply to yourself and start working on yourself. Because I've been through counseling all of my life, since I was a kid, to more counselors than, I've been through that. I've been through the depression, I've been through the anxiety and the panic attacks, and all of the abuse and the PTSD. And all of that counseling never got me past it. I dealt with the past, but it kept rehashing, and it kept me in the past. It wasn't until I sought help from a life coach and did the 12-step program at Al-Anon when a friend said, you know what, I'm taking you to Al-Anon with me. And I went, okay, whatever. And I went with her to Al-Anon. And you know what? I dug in and I really applied it. And there was a massive change that happened. And, there's a great deal of support. There's people who will support you and love you just right where you're at, who don't need to know what your last name is. They don't need to know what you did or what you're going through at the moment. They just want to love you and support you. Okay, so that being said, if you're depressed, reach out to someone. Find someone that you trust that you can pull into your circle as accountability. Someone who will check up on you. Okay, and do those things. Let's go over those things one more time before we end this. Okay, what are the things that you can do? Acknowledge yourself. 3 questions. Journal. Okay, 3 questions. How do I feel? Why do I feel that way? And what can I do to change, or what's the solution to how I feel from that past or from that memory or that trauma? Okay. If you can do that, you're halfway through the battle. What else can you do? Find a positive in your negative. Okay. And that's where gratitude comes in. You can think of a happy memory and use that. You can make a list of your attributes, write it down on a piece of paper, stick that thing in your pocket or your wallet. And when you're feeling bad about yourself or angry, upset, you pull it out, you read it. Okay. It can change your mindset. Plan video calls with friends that you trust, especially right now during lockdown. You can find something to look forward to. Do something that you love to do. Plan to do it during a certain time of the day, every day or every 5 days or 3 days or on every Saturday. I think some people are doing what they called martini FaceTime. And that martini FaceTime, I would not encourage alcoholics to do that, but you can actually do that with like Perrier or Pellegrino, something like that. You can also get the blood flowing, exercise, drink water, limit your salty junk food, plan out your meals, eat healthier 6 days a week, 1 day a week, eat junk food, eat healthy 6 days a week. These are all things that you can do to help your body to balance. Now, there's one more thing that I did not mention. If you are struggling with a thyroid condition or Addison's disease, adrenal fatigue or chronic fatigue, you are physically, emotionally, and mentally going to feel down and drug out. Okay. And that's when it's time for you to reach out to a healthcare professional, a doctor, or a nutritional coach, a health coach, or a nutritional therapist like myself, so that we can help figure out what's triggering this and resolve it. Not Band-Aid it, resolve it. Remember that doctors mean well, they can diagnose you, they can give you medication, but it will never resolve the root cause. Okay? That's where health coaches and nutritional therapists come into play. And as always, okay, if you want to know more about how to improve your health, reduce pain or inflammation, naturally heal for a happier, healthier you, reach out. I'm here for you. I will walk by your side. I won't hold your hand. I will walk by you. I will help you figure out your keys to freedom, success, and a happier you. As always, I love you very much and hope that you're doing well. Make sure and leave a comment underneath this. Let me know how everything is going. If you've lost someone that if you're worried about somebody dying of COVID-19, or if you've lost someone, or if you think that you might lose someone to COVID-19, or you have someone who is passing away, make sure and leave their name. Don't have to give me their last name, so that I can pray for you and pray for them. I love you so very much. You matter. I hope that you're doing well. I will be here again tomorrow, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, live on our YouTube video. I'll be here tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, we're only going to be doing this once a week live on Facebook, on our Facebook channel, and our YouTube channel. But we are going to be doing a series online. I'm very excited about this. A series online for coping, and it's called Strive to Thrive. You've got to join us for that. It's absolutely free. It's 7 days, and it launches tomorrow. Okay. So I will let you know. I will post on our Facebook page where you can connect with that. You can also go to apricottreewellness.com. That's with one T. apricottreewellness.com. apricottreewellness.com. Okay. And check us out. You can come and check out the website. I've got essential oils over there. We've got some other products you might be interested in. And in the meantime, you're in my heart. You're in my prayers. I love you. And I will see you on the other side of the sunshine. I love you guys.